This is Amy Zaby with the Jerusalem Connection Friday Red Alert Report for March 17, Becoming an Ambassador. In a continuing effort to expose the UN for being anti-Israel at the very least and anti-Semitic at worst, on March 29, 2017, there is an event called Be an Ambassador Against BDS. BDS is the boycott, divest, and sanction activities that happen around the Western world to protest and even strangle the nation-state of Israel from its existence. This particular event will be held at the UN headquarters in New York and is organized by a group called Israel at the UN. It is trying to expose the BDS movement worldwide and its actual effect. Quote, "We will hold high-level discussions on topics including the use of digital media, diplomatic tactics to combat the BDS movement on college campuses, and much more. Participants and speakers will include government officials and professionals from the academic and private sector. By focusing on diplomatic and academic strategies, we will cultivate ambassadors like you to be ready for the fight." Now, this is a peaceful fight, a fight amongst ideas and information. Herein lies their goal: truth and solidarity against groups that continue to reveal bias, including the UN and its Security Council, which our own Nikki Haley publicly expressed her dismay about after her first meeting in February, and the focus on Israel as the origin of all evil in the world, and she was shocked, and she publicly stated as such. This is all in the wake of an uptick of anti-Semitic activities in the U.S. and parts of Canada. The cemetery headstone topplings, the multitude of threats against Jewish community centers. The FBI and the DOJ are taking this seriously and working very hard to flush these things out. As of March 7th, 2017, the number of threats among the U.S. and parts of Canada has numbered in the hundreds. I would liken the tolerance for all these actions to be directly connected to the voices of hate incubated on college campuses within the BDS movement. And of course, echoed by Hollywood and musicians such as Richard Gere and Roger Waters. If you have a constant drumbeat against the nation of Israel, a constant drumbeat that Israel is bad and Israel is Jewish, the next step is that all Jews are bad, and they as a target are therefore legitimate. Actions against them will be tolerated. In polite conversations, folks will talk about these events and shake their head and say it's bad and what a shame. But the fact is that if these same events were happening against the gay community, the African American community, the Muslim community, or any other minority or designated group, the outrage would be loud and shouted from the mountaintops. Jews have been the target for millennia of hate, and it seems to have sunk into our collective psyche that this is something we should tolerate. Even within a century of the Holocaust and 80 years of a never again mantra, the idea of tolerance, diversity, social justice, and peace are for everybody except the carve-out of the Jewish people, who are exempt from these rights, who are passed out as privileges by a certain few to groups that they designate as deserving. So be mindful of the disconnects when you happen to read about them, and don't let an opportunity to shame events go unaddressed. Support those around you who continue to contribute to true causes of justice, including the rights of Israel as a sovereign yet not perfect nation, and that Jews around the world inherit the same human rights as any of us claim to have for ourselves. Christians have an obligation to offer support to such things as truth, historical and contextual accuracy when discussing the issues surrounding debatable topics such as Israel policy and historical topics such as the presence of Jews and Israelis over the millennia in the Middle East. It's important that we speak up for those being persecuted and accurately identify who's doing the persecuting. Do what you can, speak to whom you can. Donate your time and your money and even your attention by forwarding information, forwarding stories that you find on various media sites. Read newspapers from the Middle East, read Israeli newspapers. Keep your voice heard, that truth will echo out and that lies will be suppressed or at least combated. Shavua Tov. Have a great week. Shabbat Shalom.